Hey guys, Chad here from CNR Reviews. So as you know, we've been trying to find the best carry handgun. We've been going back and forth between 9mm, and Ryan just picked up some new 45s. So we have a feature and size comparison video to do today. We have the Springfield XDS 45 ACP here. Now remember, this gun is brand spanking new for 2012. It just came out. It's really hard to get a hold of. And we're going to be comparing it today with the Beretta Nano 9mm. And you may go, hey, that's not comparable, but Springfield has announced that they are going to be bringing out the XDS in a 9mm version. So what we're going to do today is, maybe if you own the 45 and you want to go to a 9, maybe something a little bit lighter or smaller, or maybe you have something that's really tiny like a Car CM9, you want to see the comparison between something that's comparable and maybe move up to the 45, just a little bit more punch. So let's go over feature comparison. We're actually going to start with the Beretta Nano. And we're going to just really quickly talk about some of the features it has. It's a pretty unique gun, and the reason is that it's missing some common features that most subcompacts have. One of them being the slide lock / slide release. It's not there. They actually took it away. So the only way to lock back the slide is to lock it back on an empty magazine. Now to drop the slide, you either have to have a loaded mag or remove the mag, and then the gun's ready to go. It does have a trigger that's very similar to Glock or Springfield with a little nub on there. And let's go and show you the trigger pull. It's a very long, stiff trigger pull and a nice, crisp, clean break. I'm actually going to say it actually compares a little bit to the car trigger. It's very smooth. And I actually like the trigger. It's not as nice as the car, but it's still very close. And Beretta, you did a stand-up job on that. Congratulations, that's awesome. They also gave you 2 magazines. And for this price point, that is killer. So thanks again, Beretta. We really appreciate it. Now the magazine capacity is 6+1. Other than that, as far as features go, you have a mag release, and on this side you have a little tiny pin, or you can actually punch this little button right here. And what it does is it disengages disengages the striker. So you're done. You can actually decock the gun that way instead of having to always pull the trigger as a decocking feature. So that's about it. You have 3-dot combat sights, pretty standard. And there's the Beretta Nano. Let's look at the Springfield XDS. Now remember, this is a 45 ACP. Again, brand new for 2012. You have an ambidextrous magazine release. Very stiff, but hey, it does the job. That is the only part that's ambidextrous on this gun. Other than that, you have a slide release over here and the takedown lever. Nice 3-dot combat sights. And what's cool about the sights in the front is it's actually a fiber optic sight. Very nice, and they actually give you replacement fiber optics for it. The gun relies on a very unique safety that it's actually based upon in 1911. It's a beaver tail safety. So you actually have to have this beaver tail depressed to actually engage the trigger. So without the beaver tail depressed, you can't fire the gun. You have to depress it. Then it's a nice, crisp, clean break. Now the trigger is a little bit heavier than some of the other triggers. It's actually a little bit heavier than the Nano, but it still feels very nice, and it is controllable. The other feature it has a very similar to Ruger's goofy bullet indicator or chamber indicator. The Springfield has one too, and it pops up when there's a bullet in the chamber, or I'm sorry, a casing in the chamber.
So it's a loaded chamber indicator.
Yeah. So that's very similar to Ruger's. It doesn't pop up as much. Other than that, it does have a really nice metal dual spring guide rod. Thank you so much, Springfield, for doing that. Unfortunately, the Beretta's is plastic. Let's see, features. Other than that, on the XDS, it does have a little Picatinny rail, so if you wanted to run some type of tack light or maybe laser, you could do so. You cannot really do that on here. And one other feature, it actually has a removable, interchangeable bag strap, so you can customize that. That comes with the gun. Also 2 magazines as well, so Springfield, I love you, thank you. That means you don't have to go spend $50 on an additional magazine. So, let's do a real quick size comparison between these two. The size is one of the biggest issues when you're purchasing a weapon. And here we go, guys. As you guys can see, the XDS is actually considerably larger than the Nano. You're looking at least a 1/2 inch there. As far as width goes, they're very comparable, as you can see. One thing to note is that the Nano tapers at the top and then kind of gets larger toward the bottom, and they look very similar. Let's look at from the grip perspective, which one's taller. They're both running flat base plates, and as you can see, the XDS is just a tad taller, not much. You can only run your middle finger and your ring finger on these guns. I know that Springfield is bringing out an extended mag. Good luck finding one. We've been asked 1,000 times why we haven't done a review or why we don't have one.
They are not on the market yet.
Yeah,
guys.
they're not for sale yet, and if you find one, you are lucky. Then everybody goes, Hickok 45 had one. That's because he's doing a test and evaluation gun, so Springfield sent that with that. He did not go out and purchase that separately. Let's do some weight comparisons. Now remember, we're running a 45 versus a 9mm, so let's go ahead and get this scale zeroed. Got it on ounces. Let's start with the XDS. How we like to weigh our guns is we weigh them with the mag capacity that they would usually be used with. We do not like to weigh an unloaded weapon because you don't carry these guns unloaded. So that kind of gives you an unfair idea on what to expect. So let's show you what they would actually be loaded. Now remember, you have a 5+1 capacity. Well, let's make sure this guy's zeroed. There we go. 5+1 capacity for a total of 6 bullets. We're going to be using a 230 grain gold dot, which is what Ryan usually carries in his guns, for a total weight of 26.2 ounces, guys. So that's really very light. That's actually on par with like a Glock 26. And when you consider that the XDS is smaller, it makes it a very concealable, very nice subcompact. That 26 ounces is actually very manageable for weight. Let's check out what the Nano weighs. Now remember, we're running a 115 grain 9mm. It is literally half of the weight of the 230 grain. So now the capacity on the Nano is 6+1 for a total of 7. And the weight for the gun, magazine, and 7 rounds is 22.9 ounces. Now remember, this is a general weighing, because if you change the grainage of the bullet that you're using, maybe you want to run a 90 grain Powerball, maybe you want to run a 147 grain hollow point, maybe you want to run a 185 grain 45 ACP, it's going to change the weight of the gun considerably. So you need to make sure that you take that into consideration. The higher the grainage, the heavier the gun. Let's talk about price. Price point is actually one of the biggest factors in buying guns. A lot of people just look at the price and say, screw everything else. And when it comes to these type of guns, you don't want to get burned. They're not cheap. The XDS is running anywhere between, and we've heard reports, guys, from anywhere between $500 all the way up to almost $700. So people are really price gouging people just because it is very popular. I really recommend that if you can wait a few months until these become more available, check out your mom and pop shops, and go out and buy one from them instead of looking at the big box stores, if you can hold off. The Beretta Nano, I know, is fairly new. It's only been out for, I want to say, a little less than a year as far as on the market where you can actually get one. And I have seen these guys go from, I mean, just one only, $450, all the way down to $379, which is what we paid for it. And I think that was a screaming deal, especially considering it already comes with 2 magazines. And like I said with the XDS, guys, do not pay over $550 for this gun. And if I know, I'm just going to say this because I've heard it from many people, Gander Mountain is price gouging the living shit out of people. So be aware before you buy this gun. There's other people online that are selling it for less. Do your duty as far as finding out how much your transfer fees are, and buy it from somebody else online and have it shipped, because you do not want to get screwed on price, guys. Other than that, let's just really quick talk about reliability. We've had literally 0 issues with the XDS since getting it. Ryan and I have both fired it. This is Ryan's carry gun as of right now, and it has been awesome. The Beretta Nano, unfortunately, has had some issues. We actually waited to purchase this because of some of the issues when they first came out, and it looks like those issues are still continuing with the second production run. They are having some issues as far as failure to ejects, and I have experienced 6 in 150 rounds. That's almost on par with the Kel-Tec PF9. It's just a little bit less. And I've heard it's due to bad quality ammo and this and that, but we're running top quality ammo. The only bad ammo that it's really not even bad ammo. It usually fires in the Glocks and other stuff is the Cellar and Bellet. And the only reason why we run it is because it's inexpensive. But I also ran American Eagle. It also failed on American Eagle. The only one it didn't fail on was Blazer Brass, which was unusual because I think Blazer Brass sucks ass. But other than that, guys, we will be doing more testing on the Nano just to make sure that it's not us limp wristing it. Because remember, you get into these smaller guns, the recoil is considerably more. I recommend you guys check out both these guns if you get a chance. Check out our channel. We have comprehensive videos on the XDS. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And look forward to more videos on the Beretta Nano. And thanks a lot for watching, guys. This is Chad from CNR Reviews. Have a good night.